Hey, you ever been to Chancellor Park? That's where I live. My name is Tavin Dillard. I live in Chancellor Park. I mow lawns, mowing, edging, grass cutting legend. I sure am glad to join me here on this podcast. I want to let you know what's going on in my neck of the woods. Now, I started out years ago on the YouTubes and then the TikToks and the Instagrams now and the whatnots. I got the websites, the tavindillard.com, but right now, I want to clue you into what's happening in my neck of the woods on the Tavin Dillard podcast. You here? I'm here. I'm glad you joined me. Now I'm going to send it over to myself. This is like the pre-introduction, but let's get on to the real show today. I'm glad you joined me here. Bank, bank. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Stand beside her and guide her. Hey y'all guys, it's the Tavin Dillard podcast. The week of the 4th of July, if you listening to this on the day it comes out, is July the 2, July the 2nd. I hope that you got your fireworks, but there's time. Them fireworks stay open, you know, and then if you got a buddy that's selling them, he stay open even longer probably. But anyhow, you know how that goes. I hope you're doing well. We in season 10, episode 9. The Tavin Dillard podcast. I'm a mowing, edging, grass cutting legend, and things is busy. I hope the summer is good. We have pickle-booned into the merry month of July, and I'm glad you're here. It's going to be a great week. Already some great things happen. Can't wait to catch you up on it. I hope it's good in your neck of the woods. Well, firstly, I'm going to put links to just all my shirts. It's just a link to the merch, because you'll find the Butter Bacon 2024 shirt, you know, like the campaign shirt. I got a Butter for President shirt. We got the Bacon Freedom shirt, a piece of bacon in cut-off jeans shorts, catching a Frisbee, holding a sparkler. It says Freedom at the bottom. All kind of things to get a hold of in the show notes. Thank y'all guys that have left them ratings for the book. I mentioned it last week on the podcast, the Team Burger Shed book on the Audibles and on the Amazons, that kind of thing. So if you want to get a hold of the book, that'll be in the show notes today too. But I just want to take care of a little bit of housekeeping before we get into a great week that just happened. Happy 4th of July week to y'all. Happy birthday, America. Woohoo! Celebrating freedom. I sure appreciate y'all. So, Team Burger Shed, we had our 5th game this week. I know. We had no game last week. You might remember they doing scheduled maintenance at the fields, which leads you to wonder how in the world could the fields be in the condition they was in for our game this week if they took a whole week off to work on the fields. That's Scooby-Doo stuff right there. I don't understand that mystery, but you about to find out, and you can let me know what you think. But we are 2-2. If you know anything about records in the sports events, the first number is the wins and the second number is the losses. And we won as many as we lost. We won 2 games and we lost 2 games. That's okay. You know, you can't win them all. You ever heard that before? You ever heard that saying? It's a saying that people say. It's something people will say. It's a saying, and it says you can't win them all. And I found that to be true. Or at least we were 2-2. More on that in a little bit. Let you know how this week's game went. Boy, I was gonna say this game's week went. And I'm like, that don't sound right in my head. And then when it came out my mouth, it sounded even less right, you know, because it wasn't right. But this last week's game. What's your 4th of July plans though? We had a party here in Chancellor Parks. It's kind of a week-long party. It's the 4th of July week, I guess you'd say. This is the week we finish off the rest of the New Year's fireworks, and we find our way out to the water, and we firing off the 4th of July ones. What about y'all? I can't wait to hear about how your 4th of July goes. You can always tag me in your pictures on the Instagrams and wherever you post in pictures. So I had to make a decision this week on this 93 Ford Ranger. Remember last week? Like I've been trying to save for, I don't know, I feel like a couple years to get a truck, because I got a bike and I got an ATV, but there's just some things a truck would help with. And it's Donnie Wayne Chambliss' sister Ada. She let me test drive that thing. I ain't got to repeat that whole story. You can hear about that, you know, in last week's episode of the podcast. But You probably know Raymond Watkins flowed a remote control plane into the windshield of that truck, and I had to fix that windshield and then give her the truck back. So I'm already in this some money for a truck I don't even own. It ain't mine. You know, I was test driving it. She wasn't even sure she wanted to sell it, but she let me drive it, and I give it back to her with a broke windshield. Come on. But it's my fault. I parked it right in front of Imogene and Raymond's. He flowed that remote control plane into it, and that's how that went. So that's the deal. Am I giving this back to you after I just bought a windshield, or am I going to buy the truck and figure that out? What's the deal? So guess what? I got me a truck. Can you believe it? And now that I own it, I think, well, I'm glad I fixed that windshield. You know, I got it fixed, and then now I can see through it kind of thing, and I ain't got to worry about it. So I don't have to keep it, you know, cracked no more. I got a new windshield and basically a new truck. I mean 1993, so it ain't brand new. It didn't just come off the assembly line or nothing like that. But boy, it's a good one. Cricket helped me out this week just by saying that I need to focus on being a good teammate and not worry about the concession stand. So, you know, them softball fields, that concession stand will take me out. Some of the stuff that happens over there, I get so frustrated with it that I can't focus on my own softball game. And she said, Tavin, focus on being a good teammate. Don't even look over there at the concession stand. Don't even worry about it. She's right. It's just that some nights it's harder when folks got to run over to the concession stand from the game to help some mess that's started by Mary Beth Tucker and her mishaps that she have over there. So it could be distracting when you start losing players, especially Myron Curtis. He dating Mary Beth. He think he got to save the day all the time, and I think he just make it worse sometimes, truth be told. We played the city workers this week, PJ McGee and all them old boys that work for the city. And that's kind of where the story begins. I told you we didn't have no game last week, scheduled maintenance on the fields. Well, what kind of maintenance you doing? What I'm wondering. It was a good, quiet game, Team Burger Shed against the city workers, till about the fourth inning. We was trading runs back and forth ways. It's 7-6 when Rance Farnhart felt something on the back of his neck. Now, we was losing at that point. So the city workers was beating us 7 runs to 6 runs. So if you're talking about records in sports, the first number is wins and the second number is losses. If you're talking about the score, well, the first number is somebody's score and the other number is the other team's score. And right now it's 7-6. The winning team is the city workers in the fourth inning. See, the game ain't over yet. And Rance felt something on the back of his neck. Probably a skeeter, you know, it's that time of year, and he smacks that skeeter. Then a second later, he feels another one. Then another. It's almost like he can't smack them skaters fast enough. I mean, he was getting ate up by them skaters in the dugout. Before we know it, all of us was getting ate up. What in the world is going on all of a sudden, fourth inning at the softball fields in the Team Burger Shed dugout? Well, turns out there was some standing water behind our dugout, like a pipe had bust or something like that, and here we are. Well, I ain't no Sherlock Holmes, but I knowed who we was playing, them city workers, and it's day job to mow these fields and maintain the sprinklers and all of that kind of thing. So I holler at PJ, y'all know anything about this broken sprinkler pipe behind our dugout? How's that, Tavin? I said, we getting ate up by skaters over here, PJ. I don't know why they waited till the fourth inning to start their party, but it's bad over here. Well, PJ said, just sit outside the dugout. Oh, is that the answer? Them skeeters ain't going to find us if we move just outside the chain link? You know, our dugouts ain't like walls, y'all guys. It's chain link. I mean, they getting in there. The puddle's behind the dugout. So they flying, you know, through the fence there and biting us in the dugout. JT Whitlow, he's on our team. You know, JT is. We're yelling at PJ McGee. JT's like, do your job. Ain't y'all the ones that's supposed to fix them sprinklers? And he smacked his arm. PJ laughs. Y'all think we did this on purpose? I said, I don't know what you thought. I just know your job is to fix this stuff. And by the looks of this water, this pipe didn't just break right now. Well, by now the ump's trying to move the game along because we basically having like a yelling match in the 4th inning of this game. Team Burger Shed smacking their forearms and their necks, trying to get these skaters off, just getting ate up out there. And the umpire's like, we got to keep playing this game. But Russell Tucker, he's got his bag, and he's outside the dugout by now. You know, your little bag that you bring your cleats in and your glove and extra softball or two and that kind of thing. Well, Brody Childress and Cody Briggs, they grabbed their stuff too. So basically, Team Burger Shed, we evacuating the dugout. And so it's hard to play a game when you're trying to grab all your stuff and you got your arms full kind of thing. Myron's trying to collect bats from the dugouts, softball bats, not them Dracula things. Can you imagine if we had Skeeters outside the dugout and bats inside the dugout? Forget about it. Mort Dwightell's already struggling with them seasonal allergies. He can't have no dairy, so he didn't want to add no Skeeter bite to the list, you know, so he being real careful too. I'm liable to swell up if them Skeeters get at me, Mort said. You know, he's all concerned. So Russell started moving to the bleachers. All of us did. So Team Burger Shed, we sitting up there with the fans. Rusty Tidwell was not happy. And PJ laughed, and so did a couple of his teammates. And Rusty, he don't say a lot if you know anything about Rusty Tidwell. But when he do, folks listen. Something funny? Rusty hollered as he picked up a bat that Myron had dropped by the bleachers and made his way to the plate because it's Rusty's turn to bat. You know, the ump's trying to get things going. And he hollered at, you know, PJ and asked him if something was funny. And PJ just shook his head and waved Rusty off. Nah, don't worry about it. Y'all ready to play? Firstlies, you don't laugh at Rusty Tidwell. And B, you never ask Rusty if he's ready to play. Rusty is always ready to play. So he steps up to the plate while Myron Curtis shuffles over to the concession stand for who knows what. Rusty smacks a towering home run over the center field wall, and he steady rounds them bases. Well, now the score is 7-7. The City Workers got 7 runs, and Pico Boone, Team Burger Shed's got 7 runs. Now, if you know anything about math, that's the same number. So at this point in the game, ain't nobody winning. We tied, same score. Myron, he's made it back from the concession stand. That's not too bad for Myron to run over to the concession stand and get back by the time Rusty Tidwell's just about done rounding the bases. I will say Rusty's home run trot was slower than usual. I think he was a little upset, you know, by everything that's going on, so he took this time. But Myron made it back from the concession stand with some Skeeter spray. Between him and Mort, I thought they was going to empty the bottle. The concession stand, what they do is they keep some first aid stuff over there, but I think they're going to have to buy a refill on that Skeeter spray this week because our team basically used it all, getting ate up by the mosquitoes in right about the 4th inning. We all used it. The City Workers seemed to think the whole thing was funny, but I'll tell you, it got less funny when Rance Farnhart, Rusty Tidwell, Russell Tucker, Mort Dwightell, and Cody Briggs all got hits. 2 was homers. Rance got a solo shot, and Itchy Mort hit a 3-run shot. By the end of the 4th inning, when all this started in the 4th inning, the Skeeter bite attack, by the end of that inning, it was 11-7. Now, you know your numbers. You know Team Burger Shed, we got 11 runs now, and the City Workers, they still got their 7. Well, it didn't slow down from there, y'all guys. We held on to win the game down at the softball fields this week. 13 runs to 8 runs in the great Skeeter scare of July. I'm just glad it wasn't shirts and skins. Hard to enjoy the 4th of July all ate up by skaters, but I think we got out of there in decent shape this week. We got a win, and so if we was 2-2 at the beginning of the night, now we 3-2. That's how many wins we got. So we won more than we lost. We better than we not better kind of thing. Glad we moved the bleachers, though. I mean, we didn't move the bleachers. We moved ourselves into the bleachers when we did. Mary Beth Tucker thought it'd be fun to fire off some bottle rockets from the concession stand, you know, after the game, just kind of pre-4th of July celebration. You know who didn't think that was funny? Shane and Cheryl Grubb's doggy, Jalapeno. They was at the fields tonight, too. They was over there by the concession stand. Shane had been doing some metal detecting, and Cheryl was just chatting with some gals when Mary Beth Tucker fired off a couple, and Jalapeno ran, pulling that leash from Cheryl's hand. So the good news is Cheryl did show up with to the fields with Jalapeno on a leash. I mean, that's like, at least you kind of trying to think about other people and your dog. But that doggy pulled that leash from Cheryl's hand. I guess she ain't used to holding a leash because she didn't have a good grip on it, and off Jalapeno goes, making a beeline to the dugout. Now, I don't know why it's running toward our dugout, but here we go. You know, Jalapeno's on the run. Well, that doggy ran right into that Skeeter mud puddle and hated every bit of it. Every bit of it, boy. Mud, water, Skeeters. Jalapeno took off from there, wet and confused, through the outfield. Just made a beeline for the fields. You know, our game's done. People walking off the field. We just won. So it ain't like it's interrupting no game at this point. But Cheryl, you got to catch your doggy, kind of thing. And the thing about Jalapeno, when it starts running, it's basically Forrest Gump. You know, that thing just keeps running. It just keeps going. So Cheryl hoofed it over there to the outfield, and I don't think there's any way that Jalapeno can jump that outfield wall. So Cheryl just huffs onto the field from the first base side, thinking she's going to be able to, like, capture this doggy. And what she do is she pull a couple of donut holes from her pocket. You heard me. I don't know how many she started the night with or how long they've been in her pocket. There's a lot of questions I have about the whole thing. But Cheryl Grubbs is pulling donut holes out the pocket of her britches because she about to feed them to her muddy, skeeter bite, wet, loose dog dragging a leash behind it through the outfield at the softball fields in town. That's what's going on. Little surprising to see her with the donut holes, I gotta say, but not too surprised. I guess Jalapeno likes them donut holes, and Cheryl seems to feed that doggy all kind of stuff it can't have. So Mary Beth Tucker, she waited till we got out to the lake on the weekend to fire off any more bottle rockets, thankfully, and Cheryl ended up rounding up Jalapeno. I guess they put it right in the back of that Chevy Cobalt. I mean, you look at the back of that Cobalt, and they keep the windows down full time now because that doggy's tore up them back seats and stunk up that car so bad you can't have the windows up lest you dry heave or throw it up on your own lap in that thing. And I'm telling you, I guess a muddy, wet Jalapeno from the fields tonight wasn't going to make the back seat of that Cobalt look any worse. That's how bad it is back there in that Chevy Cobalt. But the doggy got caught and got taken back to Shane and Cheryl's 3 acres. I told her once, I told her 100 times, leave that doggy on the 3 acres. He ain't got to come into town with you every time to do these little field trips and then gets in trouble. And it could have just been running around fancy free, having a good old time out there. But again, that ain't my deal. I got to stay in my own lane. So what we did this week, we had a barbecue out at the lake to kick off 4th of July week. You know they got them paddle boats out at the lake now. You know how Rance and Myron went in and they have a business and people rent them paddle boats, the paddle boats, where you pedal them and you get out there and you just pedal them and you can kind of get a goodly look at the lake and be out there, but you ain't wet because you in the boat and you on the water, but you ain't in the water. Well, everybody was out there at this barbecue, our whole team and their families. Meemaw drove herself out. I told her I could drive her in this new Ford Ranger of mine, but she wanted to leave when she was ready, so she drove her 91 Buick Regal. You know people like that? They want to be in control of the escape route, the exit strategy. I'm driving myself. I'll just leave when I'm ready. Get it then, Meemaw. That's what I say. We had burgers, dogs, some bacon, tater salad, chips, watermelon, Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper, sweet tea. Rance even fried up some fish. Little bit of Frisbee, some fishing, some paddle boating, a bunch of fireworks, which is a whole lot of fun. Some days, I just say it, it's nice to enjoy the day and not get caught up in stuff that ain't my business. Cricket was right. Now, I didn't do no swimming in the lake. I don't really love to swim there. I can't exactly see what I'm swimming in. I don't like to. I prefer to be on the water there, not in it. But that city poo is calling my name. The city poo is calling my name. Peekaboo diving board. Peekaboo cannonball. Team Burger Shed is 3-2. And the USA is having another birthday. Real good week in my neck of the woods. I sure do appreciate y'all joining me this week on the Tab and Dillard podcast. Yeah, please rate it and listen. Wherever you listen, you can rate it and leave a comment. And same for the book as well. You'll see in the show notes today the link to all my shirts. If you're interested in picking one up, you'll also see a link to the book, ways you can get it or rate it if you already got it. Let me know what you thought about it on the interweb. You'll see how you can text me, 501-322-6249, or you can send me an email, tabandillard@gmail.com. Happy 4th of July, friends. I appreciate you. And hey, if you ain't had to get lured off the softball fields by a donut hose after falling into a giant Skeeter mud puddle this week, you having a pretty good week. Me, I'm Tab Dillard. This is a Tab Dillard podcast. Till next time, y'all guys. We'll see you later.